Thanks for tuning in and welcome to this week's review of Knocked Up, starring Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl.
Do we have sex?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hello.
Hi, this is Allison. I don't know if you remember me.
I have something I really need to tell you. I'm pregnant.
With a baby?
Yes.
As most of you already know, this is brought to you by the same people that made The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I was surprised at how good that movie was, so I did think that this movie was going to have some potential as well. What's most interesting about these two movies is that there are some absolutely ridiculous scenes and dialogue in these movies, and the humor is way over the top. But it also does manage to make some really deep points while doing so, and that's not really easy to pull off successfully. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Farrelly brothers back when they were at the top of their game back in the 90s. First off, you do need to suspend some belief that this guy is going to ever get any play in Hollywood with a girl that looks like this, especially some pretty blonde in the entertainment industry where your social status is based on the car you drive. Not to mention that this guy in the movie dressed like a 1970s concert hopper and his total bank account is less than $1,000 with no job. The odds of him scoring with her is about the same as Randy Johnson's fastball hitting a bird flying through the ballpark. Okay, so it can happen, but it's not the statistical thing that you really want to put your money on here. And if I'm in Vegas betting on this, I'm definitely taking the under. The movie's based on two girls that are sisters. One who is married with children, and the other one is a girl who gets knocked up. The older sister is played nicely by Leslie Mann, who is in The 40-Year-Old Virgin as well. So many times in real life, people get horrible advice from TV, friends, and family, and it can be really confusing on which advice to follow. Everybody thinks they're trying to help, but sometimes sifting through all the advice can be just as hard as not getting any advice at all. Finding the right person to spend the rest of your life with is the most important decision you'll ever make, and it will make or break you. All the houses and cars you may buy will pale in comparison. And these days, most people go into relationships with the attitude that, hey, if it doesn't work, I'll just get a divorce. And that's not really the best way to approach a marriage, at least in my opinion. And what this movie does quite successfully is show a lot of the complications that can arise from being married and having a family. And being that this is kind of a goofy comedy, it is very impressive for it to be able to come off serious at times while still keeping the laughs coming. I think the main reason this movie is doing so well at the box office is it does do a pretty good job of showing both sides of the story. The story from the man's side, as well as from the woman's point of view. Both sides do come off good and bad in this movie, so it's nice to have a movie that's not totally biased to the male or female point of view. Sometimes the main character, played by Seth, has almost a Terminator quality in front of the absolute worst thing to say to Catherine's character or her friends.
Hey buddy, is that a dead cat in there or what?
Fuck you, asshole.
And this always bugs me when they make a guy look like the dumbest man on earth. And this does happen periodically during the movie, and to me it's about as funny as farting at a funeral. And yeah, I know some of you would probably find that hilarious, but I guess I'm one of those few people that would find the timing just a little bit off on that. I will say the doorman scene was probably one of the funnier parts in the movie. I like when the doorman pulls the girls aside and gives one of the sisters a little talking to. There were some good laughs in the film, and I did enjoy it quite a bit. Now, I did like 40-Year-Old Virgin better, but this was a great second effort, and I look forward to them making a third movie. Now, they do show the childbirth scene in this movie, and now they don't show you the whole thing, but I can tell you they do pull a little something about Mary and show you a little bit more than you expected. Now, I've seen a childbirth before while taking a medical class, and I can tell you this, there's nothing like it. I was in a room full of guys, and some of them have families, and they were floored. And this isn't called the miracle of childbirth for nothing. And I don't care how many times you see it, it's still something you'll never forget. Everyone watching this video has been through the canal to get here, but most of us haven't witnessed it since then. It is quite an experience. The ending was pretty good, and it had much more depth than I was initially expecting while watching this movie, and it had some moments that were much more on the serious side of things, which was nice to see that they put some real thought in this movie instead of just making a comedy. Overall, I did enjoy the movie, and I recommend it to most people. It does have some very funny moments, and it does do a good job of keeping a decent balance between the male and female perspectives, and if nothing else, you should have a good time. From overall rating, I give Knocked Up 3.5 stars.